Palestinians threaten legal action against Israel. International leaders recognize new Palestinian government. Assad declared landslide victor in civil war election. And legendary British band The Rolling Stones rocks Tel Aviv. Shalom and welcome to the Jerusalem Post News. The top stories for June 5th. Chief PLO negotiator Saeb Erekat has warned that the Palestinians will take legal steps against Israel if it takes punitive measures against the new unity government.
Palestine, on April 2nd, 2014, have officially become a member of the Fourth Geneva Convention. Palestine is a higher contracting party to the Fourth Geneva Convention. There are 193 countries members, and we may soon address them with letters to shoulder their responsibilities vis-à-vis Israel, also a higher contracting party, the occupying power, vis-à-vis the atrocities and the crimes that are being committed against the Palestinian population.
Erekat was speaking a day after the unity deal was signed as he travelled with a small group of journalists and diplomats to the outskirts of a small Bedouin encampment in Area C of the West Bank. His comments came after Israel's Security Cabinet authorized Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to impose additional sanctions on the Palestinian Authority. Israel's first demonstrative step in reaction to the unity government came last night in the form of an announcement that the state will approve construction of some 3,000 new units beyond the Green Line, a move that has been met by opposition from the US. Meanwhile, the EU, Britain and the UN have stated their recognition of the new Palestinian government, while the US has said it will work with it.
The Secretary-General welcomes, on the basis of assurances provided both publicly and to the United Nations, the announcement on June 2nd by President Mahmoud Abbas of the formation of a government of national consensus headed by Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah. The United Nations has long underscored the need for progress towards Palestinian unity in line with existing resolutions within the framework of the Palestinian Authority and the commitments of the Palestinian Liberation Organization.
As we said, based on what we know now about the composition of this technocratic government, which has no ministers affiliated with Hamas and is committed to the principles that I described, we will work with it as we need to, as is appropriate.
British Foreign Secretary William Hague was the first EU foreign minister to welcome the agreement, saying that reuniting the Gaza Strip and the West Bank under a government committed to peace was a necessary condition for resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In Brussels, too, a spokesman for the EU described the deal as an important step in the process of Palestinian reconciliation. Syria's parliamentary speaker announced yesterday that President Bashar Assad had secured re-election by a landslide. Assad's opponents have dismissed the vote, held amid a raging civil war which grew out of protests against his rule, as a sham. Speaker Mohammed al-Laham said Assad secured 88.7% of the votes cast in the election, which was restricted to the parts of Syria under the control of his forces. Both the US and the EU dismissed the election as illegitimate and meaningless. And 50,000 people crammed into Tel Aviv's Hayakon Park last night to watch legendary British rock band The Rolling Stones perform. This was the band's first show in Israel, and lead vocalist Mick Jagger instantly won the crowd over by wishing his fans Erev Tov and Chag Shavuot Sameach. The band played for 2 hours non-stop, opening with the song Start Me Up and following with hits such as Jumpin' Jack Flash, Tumbling Dice, Brown Sugar and Sympathy for the Devil. That's it for today. We'll be back on Sunday with more news from Israel. Until then, shalom from the Jerusalem Post studio.